our 103rd episode of the Gutenberg Changelog podcast. In today's episode, we will talk in detail about Create Block Theme plugin, WordPress 6.6, Gutenberg 18.7, and updates from the training team, too. Maybe not in that order. I'm your host, Birgit Pauli-Haack, curator at the Gutenberg Times and a full-time core contributor for the WordPress open source project, sponsored by Automatic's 5 for the Future program. I'm delighted to have again as co-host my dear friend, Nadia Ardiani from Indonesia, member of the WordPress training team, translating Learn WordPress content, and in her day job, Maya creates content for hosting us blog and social media. So glad you can make it this time, Maya. How are you today?
Hi, Birgit. It's very nice to be back here. How are you, by the way?
I'm good. So glad we're doing this. And it's summer
Yeah.
in Munich. Yeah.
It's
How are
always
you
summer
doing?
here in
Oh, God.
Indonesia.
Well, I
Yeah.
definitely have to visit sooner or later. Yeah,
Yes,
rather sooner
please.
than later. Yeah, because
hmm
time runs out.
Yeah. The last time you invited me, I think it was around WordCamp after I came back from WordCamp US and you were not attending it. And this time it's the other way around. You're attending WordCamp Europe and I'm not, and I'm getting so FOMO of everything. So yeah.
Yeah, FOMO is
Yeah.
something that I'm kind of looking at for now. Also for WordCamp Canada, yeah, there are some great speakers on there, and yeah, but I'm really looking forward. Are you coming to WordCamp Asia in the Philippines next year? You don't know.
Yeah, I plan to. I
Yeah, me
plan
too.
to. So hopefully we can meet again.
Yeah, I hope so too, in person. Well, did you know that the call for speakers is out for WordCamp Asia?
Oh, not yet.
Yeah, so
I
dear
haven't checked.
listeners, if you want to come to WordCamp Asia and be on the speaker roster, now is the time to get your creative juices going on what you want to talk about. All right. Before I forget again, because I did the last time, I want to mention our new music for the intro and the outro. So this is the second episode actually with the new music, dear listeners, and I hope you like it. 100 episodes is a great run for Homer Gaines music that we started out with and we used for 100 episodes. But I'm also grateful that he allowed me to use his music for free. So big props to Homer Gaines, and I'll share again the link to his music channel on Spotify, or what was the other one? SoundCloud was the
SoundCloud.
one. Yes, yeah, thank you. The new jingle, or what you call it, whatever you call it, is actually created by Udio, and that's an audio AI site, which I just was trying out, and the prompt was Django Edwards style intro music, and it's called Manouche Morning. I share the link also in the show notes so you can go to the site and kind of try out your music tastes. But let me
I,
know what you think about it, dear listeners. And also, of course, Maya.
yeah, I really like it because it sounds like something that you can hear from gramophone and take you back to another time. So and it's really a nice change of vibe because before we have this cool guy, I mean cool person who is like more a very chill and like very calm person. And this time it's more happy-go-lucky. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's really great.
yeah.
And it's like
Well,
morning spirit, like
yeah.
like the name.
You kind of get in a different mindset there, yeah. And I learned in between that music actually changes depending on which music, of course, your brain waves,
Mhm,
yeah. So your alpha waves and your mood, and kind of I find it really interesting. So I read more about it. Well, good.
mhm.
So that's music, and well, either comment on the episode or send me an email or just ping me on Twitter what you think about the music. So in last episode we talked about the upcoming events, and now those events have taken place, and I can share the recordings in the show notes. If you're a theme developer, but you are not so much into code and want to use the site editor to create your theme, the hallway hangout where Beatrice Fiallo demonstrated how she changes a theme and then use the Create Block Theme plugin to save all the changes that are normally in the database to the theme files, and then make those theme files part of version control and GitHub. So that process, she demonstrated very closely. And on the recap post, I actually also spelled out the steps so you can really follow along. It was really a cool event. And Yeah, you can actually design a theme in the site editor and still update the theme files and handle it in version control. That was one of the big questions we had on the outreach channel.
Yeah, I personally also really love Playground because it really helps for content creation as well. Because I don't have to keep on tweaking my WordPress site, even though that's like a special site for testing, but it's like it's very handy to have it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can just test everything there and then forget about it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't have to reset everything. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't mess up the site that you use for other things. Yeah. Totally
Mm-hmm.
get it. Yeah. Yeah. And so I use local, or I used
Mm-hmm.
to use local, and I have probably 25 sites in there. Yeah, because I spin up a
Yeah.
new site for everything, but that also kind of clogs up my computer. Although I have a terabyte hard drive, but it still clogs up my computer because every single site has all the WordPress files. And with Playground, I have nothing stored there except that what I wanted to store in the browser or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, the other event was the exploration of grid layouts. It was also a hallway hangout. And
Mm-hmm.
Isabel Bryson, also a regular co-host here on our show, gave a great demonstration on how to handle blocks with a grid layout, or the other way around, how to work with a grid block, which is a subset of the group block. And she showed off the 6.6 features, but also what she's working on for 6.7 in an experiment. So that's
Wow.
also something to, if you are keen to learn more about grid layouts and what you can do with it, definitely watch that recording.
Yeah. And
And
people already start to work on 6.7. It's like, wow,
yeah,
so
yeah,
fast.
yeah. Well, so once decided when the beta 1 is
Mm-hmm.
of a major release, then it also decided which Gutenberg plugin version will make it from the new feature point of view. Yeah, so the week the beta 1 is released, that's the
Mm-hmm.
week where the Gutenberg plugin released, and that's the last release with new features. So
Mm-hmm.
beta 1 was on June 4th, and the release candidate for 18.5 was already out. So those features made it into the major 6.6, and everything else
Oh.
afterwards, 18.6 and 18.7, what we're going to talk to now, are either bug fixes, and they will be ported to the release on WordPress, but all the new
Mm-hmm.
features that add UI, that are enhancement to existing things, stay in the plugin. And Isabel Bryson and I think Robert Anderson, they were working on the grid layout. They actually started that experiment way earlier, yeah, but they were not ready to kind of make it public. So if you want to test out what she showed off in the hallway hangout, you need to enable that experiment on the experiment page in Gutenberg before you can actually see that feature. So there's multiple levels of how you learn about new things. Yeah, and if you want to get in early, the experiment page on the Gutenberg plugin kind of gives you a clue what people are actually working on. And some of them are pushed forward, like the data views, yes,
Mm-hmm.
or the grid layouts, and some of them are a little bit stale because yeah, there hasn't been enough feedback to move forward with a lot of things. Yeah. Going back to the announcements or to the upcoming events, there's also in the show notes a link to the recording of the developer hours, what's new for theme developers in WordPress 6.6, where Nick Jago and Justin Tadlock, we are talking about all the good things that are coming, especially the override to sync patterns and also grid, but also most prominently the section styles, that's it, and block styles, and how that works with the reduced specificity for custom CSS. So you can override, well, how you better override some custom styles and block style. It's a little bit highly technical, and yeah, if you're not into that, yeah, it might the last part might be a little bit too technical, but it's definitely worth checking out. And then there's a set of upcoming events in July. On Monday, you might not have listened to that. As of next week, it's July 8th, is a hallway hangout where Justin Tadlock and Nick Diego are talking about the section styles and block style variations. Want to discuss with the extenders what are the challenges and what are the problems or questions. Bring them all to the hallway hangout. That's on July 8th, 1600 UTC. Then on July 9th, there's a developer hour, editor unification and extensibility in WordPress 6.6. That's with Ryan Welcher and Nick Jago, and they talk about how the slot fields and all the other extensibility kind of works now for post editor, site editor, template editor. They're all now one interface or almost, and how you can take advantage of it. And there are additional ways to add your own interfaces to the sidebar. Then July 23rd, at 1500 UTC, there's another developer hours, and that covers that topic. Do you really need a custom block? And it explores the alternative. And it was one of the things that early on, but more and more you have already built in ways to modify core blocks without having to create your own blocks. So be based on the core blocks. And with pattern overrides, there's another feature there where you can say, okay, maybe I don't need my custom block. And the other part is the block bindings. So for custom fields, that you don't need a block for each custom field that your customer need. So you could actually use the block bindings for that and bind those information or the values to certain core blocks. It's not available for all the blocks, but it's 6.6. Block bindings came with 6.5 and all kind of extended, especially the editing part in the interface for 6.6. All right.
Yeah, and speaking of events, so currently the training team is we're trying to test GatherPress. So it's like an event management application and it's open source. So we're thinking, why not? We're trying to move to this platform. We're looking for a tool that can help us to improve the flow management of our Learn WordPress online workshops. I mean, for the scheduling stuff. And we hope that by testing it, we can try to meet the diverse needs of event organizers and members of the WordPress community in general. And it's not just training team members who can test it. Everyone basically can test it. And I will put the invitation to test it in the show notes. And yeah, the main areas that we evaluate will be including its ease of use and then the registering process and then the editing attendance feature and basically any other stuff that stands out.
That's great. Thank you so much for bringing that to the show. I totally dig it. And I remember having conversations about replacing Meetup as the tool for the local meetups with multi-site for all the 700 local meetups when I was a meetup organizer in 16 and 17. So this is great that it comes together now. Recently, the GatherPress plugin is also now available in WordPress plugin repo. So you can also test it on one of your other sites. You don't have to use it for WordPress events. But yeah, I'm going to look at the invite. So that is really cool. When I look at the plugin page, it has blocks for everything. Yeah, and it has for RSVP, add to calendar, the online event date, venue, and all that. So this is really great. And maybe
Yeah.
it could even
And
be used for other events, yeah, not just WordPress events.
yeah, and I myself haven't tested as well. So sharing this also became a reminder for me to like test it because it's really great to have this alternative.
Absolutely. Oh, and speaking of the training team, there are
Mhm,
3 courses that came out in the last couple of months. One is
mhm,
the beginner WordPress user. So
mhm.
if you start out as a WordPress content creator and or site owner, this is definitely a course to go through because it kind of
Yep, yep.
explains some of the WordPressy things that are a little bit harder to know. It's like your driver's license course for WordPress.
Mhm.
Sometimes we just need a refresher as well. And I just realized that there's also an immediate WordPress user course out there. So I
Mhm.
think it just went online. And for
Yeah,
those who are,
it's very new.
yeah,
Mhm.
have you worked on those?
Actually, these three stuff like beginner WordPress user and then beginner WordPress developer and then intermediate WordPress user, sorry. They're all part of the learning pathway project. So lately we try to create like learning pathway because sometimes people get into learn.wordpress.org and became like, oh my God, there's so many stuff to learn. Where do I start? So we're thinking maybe it will help if we can have like separate learning pathways for people who, for example, for people who don't have enough technical background, they can start by the beginner WordPress user. As you can say, as you already said, it's like the driving license for WordPress. It's really nice way to put it. It's when you want to really learn from the basics. And then we have beginner WordPress developer. It's for those who want to start developing for WordPress. And then now we have intermediate WordPress user. So it's like for people who already have basic or fundamental knowledge, and then they want to level up their use of WordPress. Maybe for content creation, they want to make it more effective, and then they want to explore the advanced features. So this is what everyone can learn from this.
Yeah, no, I really, and I know there's a lot of work that goes into that, especially
Mm-hmm.
because WordPress changes so much in the recent
Yeah.
year. What I also like is that the single lessons are actually available separately. You don't have to go to the course through the course or finish one lesson to go to the next. You can just kind of look at the list of the course and then pick the lessons where you want to expand your knowledge, or when you say, okay,
Yeah.
I need to dive deeper in that topic, and hopefully
Mm-hmm.
the lesson kind of covers that.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a
yeah.
really good way also for people who actually build sites for others to say, okay, if you want to learn that, why don't you go to that lesson, yeah, instead of having to do that training themselves, although it
Mm-hmm.
builds trust, but sometimes it can be a bandwidth. You don't have the bandwidth as a freelance developer or as a small agency
Yeah.
to do all the training, and having an official
Yeah.
site where you can point people to for certain explanations or for certain tools on how to use them is definitely a feature also very well built for agencies that are out there and working with clients. Yeah, you are pretty much the first
Yeah.
line of support. Yeah, so that definitely
Yes.
gives you support in supporting. I like that.
Yeah. Support in supporting.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
check out the learn.wordpress.org site and the 3 courses we will have in the show notes for you. And of course, yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
beginner WordPress developer course covers all the things that you might need to at least get started, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of tutorials out there that assume a certain knowledge of certain things. Yeah, and I know because I work with the writers on the developer blog, on the
Mm-hmm.
WordPress developer blog, and some of it is kind of how can we get to the meat of that particular tutorial without having to explain about everything WordPress
Everything.
kind of thing. So now we can point to the WordPress developer lessons and say, okay, here you can beef up thinking about this or this and that. Yeah, so it's great fundamental work that the training team is doing there.
Yeah. And we try to facilitate the many ways people might prefer to learn. Some people prefer to learn audio visually. Some people prefer to just read it because they can do it anytime and anywhere, and also for the accessibility reasons. So yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, definitely. So that was the section about the training team. Well done on the training team and everybody else out there. So that brings us to the section what's released. And before we dive into WordPress 6.6 some more, just wanted to give a shout out to the latest release of the Great Block Theme plugin. It has become my most favorite plugin that I actually use. And the team working on has released version 2.3 with a few more capabilities. And now you can add image credits to the theme modal. So there's a theme modal where you can put all the information about a theme that you create in there. And there's now also a
Ah.
section for the image credits if you use somebody else's images in there that are not
Mm-hmm.
common licensed or public domain. So you can add this to it. External
That would be
links are
nice.
now translatable. So the translation team, whoever and polyglots wants to translate a theme, can do that. There is a new about section in the editor that helps you with what the various pieces are about. And the landing page in the plugin has been majorly improved from the design, and it now looks a little bit more like that it's the plugin is. And then now the font settings, when you clone a theme, the font settings actually persist over the cloning part. So what the original theme is doing, you can do is the cloned theme is also respecting that. Yeah, and then there were quite a few bug fixes and all that, but it's so great how this plugin actually evolves throughout the times and goes along with the WordPress features. I think they're working now on some pattern management, but they need to wait for the core to finish developing. Yeah, that's sometimes the heart of the matter is, yeah, if you want to create, you can create patterns in the interface, but you need to export them separately and not with the theme. So that's kind of a major stepping stone. And then the style and section styles, they haven't implemented that yet, but it's coming along, and stay tuned. So for WordPress 6.6, release candidate 2 is now available for testing. Today we're recording this on July 4th. Apropos thinking July 4th to our American listeners, happy Independence Day. Hope you have a wonderful weekend and enjoy the summer coming in. But no rest for the wicked. WordPress 6.6 is scheduled to come out at July 16th. That's 12 days away. And there is with the release candidate 1, also the Source of Truth came out, a compendium. It's a book about that. WordPress 6.6 compiled or composed, edited, authored by Anne.
Curated.
Curated by Anne McCarthy. It's all you want to ever learn about 6.6 in any detail about every feature. It might not interest everyone, but you can actually, she tags each feature for the intended user, like is it a theme author, plugin author, end user, or enterprise level, or for everybody. So you can actually use the browser find function for the tag theme author and then go just hop from one occurrence to the next and read it that way. That's how I do it.
Yeah.
If you need a shorter version, Jamie Marsland summarized the most important feature in this video and calls it WordPress 6.6. Huge changes coming soon.
As a content writer, I am so thankful that Anne McCarthy always create this source of truth every time there's a major release. So it became our source of truth, literally, to write anything about WordPress. So it's also interesting that today's marketing team from the Make teams shifting to Media Corps because it's expanding the possibilities for the source of truth. I mean, now that we're going to have that one place, one central to getting everything about WordPress and being updated on it. So it will be really helpful for content creator especially.
Yeah, it's actually meant for content creators. It's not so much for end users because it also can be quite technical. So Jamie Marsland in his video, he points out pattern overrides, the grid layout, and we all talked about it, the negative margins, the custom shadows, and as well as the data views. So, and there were actually for the developers additional dev notes since the last episode were published. And one was the updates to the interactivity API, miscellaneous editor changes. These are smaller changes, but still don't overlook them. A dev note about the section styles, a dev note about the CSS specificity. That's a very difficult word for me.
Me too.
Then
it's tongue twister.
Yeah. Well, and it reflects how hard it is to talk about that is as well.
Yeah. 6.6 CSS specificity. So many S.
Yeah. And then there is a roster of the design tools per block. That's just a table of lists all the blocks and then which design tool, line, typography, color, dimensions, background image, gradient, yay, duotones, that which block does what. And then there's another dev notes about the theme JSON version 3 that also covers the style variations or the section style variations, how you can manage them through theme JSON. Maya, from all the small and big features, what intrigues you as a content creator the most?
I actually want to say the zoom out view, but sadly, based on the 6.6 source of truth, it will be available on future release. So, but I was like, if it's finally available, it will be game changer because I can, instead of cut and then move it to somewhere else by scrolling up or down my mouse and put it on the wrong part of the website, being able to zooming it out will be, oh my God, it will be, what is
Yeah.
it in English? Sorry, it will be really time saving.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I can definitely see that because we are so focused on the block or on the section kind of thing that sometimes you need a full view of a page. Yeah, and
Yes.
the zoom out view is, yeah, we are looking at things sometimes only for the block section and what's in front of us, but when the zoom out view gives you actually a view of the full page and how that everything kind of fits together. That's very important when you look at template previews or on pattern previews, or even on your, when you go through the categories of patterns and then you see the pattern.
Mhm.
Yeah, how would that fit in into your full page kind of thing? So yeah, but if I understood it correctly, it wasn't all that seamless to use. It was always a little bit of a surprise when it happened. Yeah, that
Ah,
the team still wanted to, and nothing is hated more than a surprise by an end user. Um,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
what did I do? Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, that you.
Did I
So
do something wrong?
yeah, that's the first question I always ask. What did I do? Yeah, and how did that come? So they wanted to finesse that a little bit more and make
Hmm.
that usage a bit more intuitive. So apart from
Yeah, yeah,
what's
yeah.
not in 6.6,
Yeah.
what else?
I think it's the unified editor experiences. I mean, it just makes sense to me to have the featured image position way higher than before, because before it's down there, now it's way up there. So yeah, because when we create like a blog post, after finishing the text, the first thing that come to mind is what feature image we will put there
Right.
to represent the blog post. And then because having proper and featured image is also important for the SEO and for branding, especially that if we name featured image with the keyword that we target, it will boost the SEO performance as well. So yeah, and I like how the publish flow looks more compact and less distracting because some stuff get inside the when we
Three,
click something and yep.
the three
And
three dot menu.
yeah. And then yeah, it can be also less intimidating for newbies because
Mhm.
there's not so many stuff right there. And
Right.
then I'm also interested to the pattern overrides because it will be so handy and time saving and also help create a cohesive design across the site, especially for no code or non-designer users. And then also the negative margins
Oh,
because
yes.
it unlocks the design possibilities for us who don't really design on or in our daily lives.
Hmm.
So yeah, it will look really cool, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I like the combination between the grid block and the custom shadows. Yeah, and then now you
Oh
can
yeah.
have some overlap of
Mm-hmm.
images and text, and you don't have to use a cover
Yeah.
block to have that because it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to organize that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it will be so fun to play with.
yeah, great tools in there for designers that are no coders. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I'm a total fan of the pattern enhancement that come with 6.6. It's not only the SIG pattern overrides that were punted from 6.5, and I like the additional time really helped with the feature to bring it in because now you see it in the sidebar which content you can override and how they're called. So and to create this, you can actually guide your users which piece
Oh.
of the pattern you can override. So there's a sidebar on that. When the pattern comes in, you really see it. And there's also the full pattern management is made available for sites that use a classic theme. So they get a menu item in the WP admin and also all the pattern management screens. So that's a big deal for the classic themes because they still dominate the space, of course. Not everybody changes themes every 2 years. So you can, but users can take advantage of the broader template part and pattern management, or theme developers can also make those available for their users. So that I'm really happy about that. Yeah, we talked about the grid layouts. That's I'm absolutely a fan for that, and because you can have so much more design. Although I want to do something like a Pied Mondrian kind of style, and I was kind of looking forward to doing that. And now you can also create your own drop shadows, and you don't need a theme developer or a developer for it or wait for core. You can create your own drop shadows with the color, how they lean, what's the angle, and what's the distance from the thing. It's not available for all blocks, but I think it's still only for 4 blocks. But it's definitely changed for the content creators to kind of make some interesting things. And one thing I really like that it's finally coming to WordPress, and that is to use the tab button to indent list items. Every time
I forget about that too. Like, it will be really nice too.
Yeah. And because it trips me up every time, I know I'm going to use it very much. It's not, I have not learned to work around it. It's like, why can't I do this? So I try it every time I use a list that needs to have multiple hierarchies. So I'm really happy about that. Thank you.
Finally.
The time that I don't spend in WordPress, I spend in Google Docs. So some things from Google Docs. What drives me crazy in Google Docs is that I can't just highlight something and put a link underneath with copy paste. That kind of trips me up in Google. And it's like, Google, get on with it. And GitHub can do it. WordPress can do it. You can do it too. But and this was the other way around. It's kind of what Google does nicely and WordPress doesn't do. We talked a little bit about on the podcast already about the new screens coming called the data views, and those are the admin screens that in Site Editor to manage pattern, pages, styles, navigation, and templates. And they're a test bed for more admin redesigns to come. And I'm really excited about that because it kind of gives you a little view into the future and also lets you already use it and see how that works well for you. I know for 6.7, they're looking at making those available for media library and also for the post. Because those two things on the content side, they still use the old WP admin for various reasons. Most of it because of the extensibility that needs to be built in, because a lot of plugins kind of tap into these screens right now. But the 6.7 is probably going to have at least some first versions of that. In that, if you're a plugin developer, you might want to check out the WordPress component package data views. And there's also one that contributors are working on. It's called data forms, maybe to make them work for your plugins, or at least test them out in what it will bring for you later on in a year or so. And then of course the last feature that I'm really happy about is how the extensions of the block bindings, they were a big deal in 6.5, but the enhancements that are coming in 6.6 is even more useful for site owners and site content creators, because WordPress now offers various ways where you can update the custom fields through the block binding screen. So the meta boxes that are on bottom of your screen are not the best interface. They also don't have any validation and all that, but you can now change it right in the block. So if you have a typo in a value for the meta, thinking of a book, if you have a typo in the author, you can change the author right there in the block, as well as if that's in the archive. You can use those block bindings also in the archive pages through your templates, but users can then change, oh, this is a wrong date, or this is a wrong location, they can change it right there in the archive pages in the editor. So it's kind of nice to have that now built into the block editor, what before you actually needed custom blocks for it, or you needed ACF for it, or parts or something like that. But now you can just have the custom fields connected with blocks, still in the early stages, of course, but it's not for complicated fields or complicated connections, but it's a start. And
Yeah,
it might
we're
make,
getting there.
it's getting there, and it might make quite a set of custom custom blocks redundant if you could use those for that, and you don't have to maintain the code for that. Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I kind of think about 6.6. Yeah, what I like and what I really looking forward to it.
It's less than 2 weeks from now, I think. Yeah, yeah,
12
yeah.
days from today.
12 days.
So this comes out
Mhm.
on Sunday, and you have only 10 days once
10
you listen
days.
to that. Yeah, or maybe today, Thursday. Well, it comes out on Sunday, so you only have 8 days or
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
Anyway, so, well, but that was not the only thing that was released today or this week. The WordPress 6.6 release candidate 2, it was Gutenberg 18.7. Total of 115 PRs were merged in Gutenberg 18.7 with 7 first-time contributors. Yay.
Mm.
It's always, I always going to look at that and hope they contribute not only their first contribution, but also because now they got the process right, that
Mhm.
there will be many, many more contributions from those
Yeah.
users. Yeah.
First of many contributions after this.
Right. Yeah. And with WordPress 6.6 at our doorstep, many contributions were focused on bug fixes. So there's not a whole lot of new features in there, but there what we talk about, some of them are really we will find in 6.7, but let's talk about them. So there is now a content panel for template parts. And that is good because now developers, and when you create templates in the editor, you can add a description, and that shows up in the content area for
Mhm.
that template. So you can make your theme a little bit more descriptive. Then the
Mm.
next one is, we
Yeah.
talked about the publish workflow, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep, yep.
there is the sticky toggle, which is
Mhm.
something that means the sticky post. Yeah,
Yes.
that
It's now
is
under, it will be under, wait, I
the
forget where
three
it.
dot
Oh yeah, it
menu.
will
Yeah.
be, yeah, it will be under the status and visibility. And I think that will be great because it makes it more clear what sticky means. I mean, especially for non-English speakers and beginners, because I remember the first time I learned using WordPress, I was confused. What does this sticky means? Because I I was trying to make my first blog post and then I try this sticky feature and nothing happens, of course, because my post is only one. So so I cannot see what this feature actually do. So by moving it under status and visibility, I think it makes it more like intuitive because yeah, by that we know that oh, this sticky might be related to the visibility. Oh, it will be stick to somewhere in the website. So
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's also not, the first, the first few blog posts, you probably wouldn't need to know about sticky posts to kind of get that into your kind of
yeah.
feature set that you would need. So why is it there? Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. What they also did in 18, but 18.7. Why am I still 2 years in 16?
Numbers are also hard.
Yeah, numbers are hard, especially for writers. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm actually a number person, so uh,
Ah, yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah. It's
yeah.
number person and alphabet person. So
I used to say, so it's a real miracle what word person do with numbers, because I looked at budgets from word persons, and that didn't work out. But yeah, off my tangents now. So one feature that comes with 18.7 is that the alignment of the naming modals. So we are renaming and naming quite a few things. One is we rename the sections in the pattern overrides. We rename template parts. We rename posts and pages titles, and all these modals, they looked a little bit differently every time. So they are now aligned, and use the same design. So it makes it less of a friction, because every time you see something different, you think there might be something different, but there isn't. So that's really good for quality of life improvement on that. So we haven't talked a lot about the writing mode support for blocks. What is
Yep.
that? That is kind of, do you know what that is? Have you ever used it?
I tried it, but not like really applied it on my daily process. But I think it opened more design possibilities because we can make any other element to be vertical, or there are so many possibilities that we can do with the layout and then
Mhm.
with the message that we want to share to the world. So,
Mhm.
yep.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So you could pretty much kind of say in the fonts, you see in the three dot menu in your typography things, you see vertical alignment or orientation is, I think, what you see, font
Oh,
orientation.
yeah, yeah.
So you can then
Orientation.
say, okay, I want this headline to be vertically aligned with the paragraph that it kind of comes after. So it actually will be
Yeah.
on the left-hand side instead of on top of it, but it is vertically aligned. And yeah, as you said, it's a nice design tool to break up the wall of text, I call it. Yeah. So when you use headers and list items and
Yes.
all that,
So
yeah, people
many.
kind of they need to be visually attractive at one point, so you can.
Yeah.
And this PR or with 18.7, the feature of the vertical alignment comes to other blocks. The writing mode support is now also available for buttons and verse and site tagline blocks and site title blocks. So, and not just for headings and paragraphs. There's a theme JSON settings in there, and you can also kind of see it then in your style books. So I think that's a great feature to have that is added to a few more blocks. So wonderful. Another tool, it's not a tool, but what has changed, and you will see it in 6.6, is that with the entity that you're editing. So what do I mean by that? Is it a pattern, or is it a block, or is it a template? And now you get
Mhm.
a document bar on top of the screen that
Oh,
actually tells you where you are. Yeah. So, and that document bar is now also available in 18.7 Gutenberg with the style book and the style revisions. So it's one more piece of getting the orientation right for a content creator. So what am I actually doing? And I liked it
yeah.
for templates and for pages. So, am I in template mode or am I in page editing mode? Yeah, which is kind of a little different. So,
Yeah. I checked the GitHub issue and still cannot really comprehend what will we get from this feature. But then you just explain about it. It makes me, oh yeah, 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 I will like looking forward to this. That's why even though I'm not really technical person, I still like keeping notes and updating myself of all these updates because oh, this one I might need this. And yeah, just taking notes of everything.
yeah. And the last one, it's also a very small thing, but it's really improves the quality of life of this new feature. And I'm sad it's not gonna come to 6.6. Not that because it's the tool top
Oh,
to hover over the color and the typography presets. So if your theme
oh,
has, or if you're a theme developer and you create color and typography presets for your theme, then the user can hover and identify that color palette or what typography, what's the font like, or how do you call those fonts? Yeah.
mhm.
So, and you can then point people to it in your documentation and say, well, look at that, or look at this. And the tooltip helps you identify really the things that are on screen. All right. Do you want to add something to the tooltip?
Yeah, I just want to say that this will be very handy for working with teams because you don't have to pick that one that is the third one from the top. But you can just say the name of what is it, the color presets, the color palette. So yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, it's kind of really hard to organize it. So we mentioned there are quite a few bug fixes in there, and there is one in there that we'll talk about. That's the writing flows. Split the heading into a default block. You can split a
Mhm.
block, and then it's still gonna be a heading.
Yeah, because sometimes when we like enter in the middle of the heading and then it creates another H1, let's say, it just didn't make sense to have why do we want to have two heading one in a row? So yeah, it's just makes sense to have like when we enter it automatically became a normal text like that.
Yeah, a normal paragraph block. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or when you kind of get carried away with writing a headline and said, no, I want
Yeah.
to kind of break it and do that as
Yeah.
a subheading. Yeah, yeah. So that's a very good fix. You can also now, it fixes the custom color palette, because that was always a little bit hard to use when you want to create new ones. So
Yeah, it's really, I also found this one really useful because like sometimes, especially for brands, some brands have that very specific color, and by being able to create the custom color palette, it will help us to have a website in our signature color.
right, yeah. And this fix actually makes that workflow much smoother, and yeah, you don't have to
Yeah.
fiddle around with it too much. Yeah. And the next one is that for the grid, we talked about the experiment about the grid interactivity, and it now allows blocks to be positioned in manual mode using drag and drop.
Mm.
So the handling of grid and grid cells is going to be much easier, and even in the manual mode you can use drag and drop to place your blocks on the grid. There were two things that I want to, there are quite a few documentation PRs that fix or add to the documentation, which is always appreciated. The interactivity API docs now has an addition of the WP async directive documented. So it's for the developers when they go out and grab some data from somewhere, and how
Mhm.
to push that into the website. And then for the query loop block, it clarifies some explanation about the variation examples that are in core, so developers can handle them. Yeah, and I think that was it, what we have for Gutenberg's 18.7. Yes, we are almost through. We have one section for the what's in active development or discuss, and I just wanted to let you know that the GitHub repo for the next default theme called
2025.
very good. We did not plan this.
Yeah.
And I connected with Carolina Niemark, who created the repo, and she just said that it's pretty much right now just to put the placeholders in, because the release team for 6.7 hasn't been announced yet, and the
Hmm.
default theme co-leads will be part of the release team. So we need to wait for that. But if you have any input or any ideas for 2025, yeah, you can definitely create issues there and start and raise your hand if you want to contribute however you want.
The 2025 will be part of the last release of this year, right?
Which is WordPress 6.7.
6.7. Oh, yes.
Yes, yeah. It's the next release, and it will come out in November. But I
Oh.
think the release date is before Thanksgiving. So it's November 12th.
Oh,
So it's way
yeah.
before Black Friday and all the holiday gonna start.
Yeah.
At least in America, between Thanksgiving and New Year, nobody really, everybody shops and not a whole lot of people
Yeah.
work. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's time for have fun.
well, it's time to for have fun, but also for to keep websites stable, so the online
Oh,
shopping
yeah.
spray is
Yeah.
not interrupted, and because that's where most people make the year's revenue. Yeah,
Give giving time.
it's giving time, it's buying time, it's Black Friday time, it's
Yeah.
Cyber Monday time. Yeah, it's all the discounts that come around for that. Yes. Yeah. So I'm so happy that you were on my show, Maya, or on our show.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And it's always wonderful to chat with you about WordPress and all the things content creators do with it. So when people wanna connect with you, where would they find you?
So you can find me on WordPress.org, of course, and then I have LinkedIn as well, and
Okay.
Twitter and Instagram. But lately I've been in social media time off.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to get in touch with me, I think WordPress.org. And maybe if you want to read anything about related to me, so in training team, we lately develop we have a new initiative, so it's contributor spotlight, so we celebrate the journey of training team contributors. It's initiated by Courtney Patubo-Kransky, or Courtney PK, we call her. It started this January, I think, and yeah, you can all read it on the training team Make WordPress blog.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I'm gonna put a link in the show notes to that profile. And thank you for that initiative. It's always good to read the stories, contributor stories. Yeah, and I will add your LinkedIn and your WordPress Slack profile, or WordPress Slack
WordPress
account as
Yep.
well to the show, so you can all follow up with Maya. And
thank you so much.
you're welcome. As always, the show notes, dear listeners, will be published on gutenbergtimes.com/podcast. This is episode 103. And if you have questions or suggestions or news you want us to include, send them to changelog@gutenbergtimes.com. That's changelog@gutenbergtimes.com. Or just ping me on Twitter, like many people do. And if you enjoy the show, please, please, please leave a review on Apple or Stitcher or whatever your favorite podcast directory is, so other people can find it too. Again, thanks to Maya, and thanks for listening, and goodbye.
And thanks to Birgit as well.
Well, thank you.
It's always an honor.
Thank you. And a great pleasure for me. All right, this is the outro. Listen to it, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, or talk to you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye.